Yep, I'm going to be talking about Rick and Morty. Apologise to those who cringed during that. I'm talking about Rick and Morty today. I've always kind of wanted to do a video like this. Wait 1 second, I'll go switch this light off in case it's a bit, because I can see how it looks there and it doesn't look good. There we go, that's good. Yeah, so as I was saying, I've never really did a video like this on my channel. I've always kind of wanted to, do something like, I literally want to see a movie review, right? I've been thinking of doing a movie review since, like, Guardians of the Galaxy came out. And see, in the head, when you think about it, like, you think, like, it doesn't feel like it came out that long ago, but that came out in April, and now it's August, and so it's just, like, and now I wanted to do it, like, for, like, a couple other movies as well, like Spider-Man and Captain Underpants, because, like, I read the books, because, like, I don't know if you'll like that movie unless you're, like, a little kid and you haven't read the books. It really depends. I don't know, I'm not judging. And then, so I just decided to do this because, like, I really like this show, because you can see, like, even I did, like, when I showed you all my drawings and stuff, and then I got, like, a Rick and Morty thing at Insomnia, I got, like, this and stuff, and I got some badges and everything, and it's just, I really like this show, so I decided to talk about season 3, the new episodes that are out. So I'm not going to talk about episode 1, I'll just give it a rundown. So, like, basically Rick escaped from prison and collapsed the Galactic Federation, but, like, the interesting thing is, see at the very end, it's the thing with Phoenix Person, and yet we're already in episode 5 and we've not seen him yet. But I'm thinking maybe that episode 6 might have him in it, because it's called, maybe, I don't know, depends what happens. Maybe it's just relaxing, maybe they are, because it's called Rest and, I can't pronounce, Relaxation, I don't know how to pronounce it. Still like that? Yeah, and so it either depends, they will just relax or they'll be attacked by Phoenix Person. That's what I think's gonna happen. Yeah, so I hope he comes back this season, because, like, that can't have been just, like, a little joke or something. That has to be, I don't know why my shoulder hurts. That has to be, like, something that's actually gonna happen, or else that's just wrong. That's just horrible. Yeah, so that's happened. And then episode 2, I didn't like, the fact, see the way, like, I've noticed something for this season so far. For the first couple, like, episode 1 and, like, 2, like, for episode 2 and 4, they don't really start where you'd think they'd start. Like, see episode 2, you'd think they're like, oh, like, I'm going to go to this dimension, but they were already kind of in the dimension, I think. And then they just, like, hopped in. And then it was like they were talking to Jerry before. And then they were talking to Jerry, and then it was like, it was just kind of like apocalypse themed. And there was, like, Mad Max references and stuff. And it seems to be, like, for everything, Anthony is the name you use to make jokes out of, because in Ant-Man there was, like, Anthony, and then in this there was Armthony, which is what Morty named his sentient arm, which he had. And I find that a little bit stupid, to be honest. And then in episode 3, like, even if I was like, maybe there's an episode that comes out that's like, that's a bit better. No. I'm just going to keep telling myself that's the best episode by far, and it will always be the best episode. Pickle Rick. What is there not to like about that? And that episode was just awesome. And I've got Sea of Shadow Gamer free. He started to watch it now. But, like, he kind of knew about it, but, like, he's now properly watching it. And I told him, like, you need to go watch this episode now. earlier today, like the new episode. And then, so that was just like the whole thing. I don't like the poop jokes. The one about eating poop and stuff. I saw the thing on the door and I know what it is. And then the teacher was just like, the Smith family, how long have you been eating poop? Because they're here for the family therapy. And he's there for like the poop thing. And that's what he thinks they're there for. And then he's like, oh, me neither. I gotta go find my family. And like walks away. And then it's really weird. See, I was pausing it and playing it when I was watching it at one point, when Rick turns from the pickle into the person, and it just looks really weird. And you see the similar thing in episode 5 when his like head's getting took off and then it goes back. It looks really similar. And then, so that episode was just awesome. I do not really understand. I saw a lot of things like criticism for that, saying like how could he just lick the bug's brain and stuff and control it? Like, I don't really understand it either, but I think it actually works in a way because of electrons in a pickle. I have no idea. It's probably, if it is, then it'd probably best to turn himself into Lemon Rick, to be honest. That'd probably be more helpful, but it doesn't have as good as a ring to it, so just stick with Pickle Rick. And then Jaguar in that episode. And also, see how like, you see Jaguar. See the thing at the end of Jaguar. Jaguar's a character he had a little bit in the episode. The bit where they like the piano crushing their skulls. That was in the trailer, and it was in the intro. And I was thinking, I thought that was gonna be an episode. And there was another bit that I thought was going to be a different episode. Right, so yeah. See the arm thingy bit? Because you could see the big arm in the trailer, the bit with he's like Rook, and then he's like mixing with the potions. I thought that was going to be a completely different episode because, so like 4 episodes, like 4 possible episodes from the trailer just turned into 2 because the big arm one, because that looked like a kind of like Transylvania world, I guess. And then there was like vampire or something like that, or olden time, something like that. I'm just repeating. And then and then the Mad Max one, I thought there was going to be 2 different episodes, and then the Pickle Rick one and like the piano one, that was the one that I know more people thought that the piano was going to be its own episode, but it wasn't. So that's like 4 possible episodes turned into 2. So we don't know what the other ones are going to be about. And then there was episode 4, which was Vindicator's Return of World Ender. And this one was a parody of like Marvel and DC. I think it was more Marvel though, because like DC, the new universe for DC hardly has any movies out. And it didn't seem to be directly parodying them, apart from Alan Rails. He was like definitely a parody of Green Lantern, and it was parodying all the stuff like all of them have tragic origins, like parents' death. All of them like never give up. Like with great power comes great responsibility, and like apart from Deadpool, but he still has a kind of tragic origin in a way, and then. It's like, it got really dark because it was so funny though. So yeah, they released a video hyping up World Ender, like, this is the biggest bad guy you've ever seen so far in the Rick and Mortyverse. And yes, one of them actually said the Rick and Mortyverse. I'm just sitting there like, what is that? And then the fact that Rink. Who's that? Rick killed him the previous night when he was drunk. And then the fact that he set up all of this like high-tech thing and made it into like a Saw parody. That was quite funny. And then Noob. Yes. The fact that bit was funny because he like, laughed at his jokes at the beginning, and then and then the yeah, and then it was like the bit at the end where it was like the thing he cares about most in the Vindicators, and then it was just Noob. It was like Morty was like, because Rick like I was thinking Rick cares about him, and I was just like, everybody, like even my own grandson, he's an idiot. I think it's a moron actually. It doesn't matter. And he's like Noob. And then at the end there was like a guy who was like, everybody in the house love Noob. All the ladies come around for Noob. That bit was just rant. And then the fact that Rick said, who the hell is Noob? It was quite funny. And then we also saw Gearhead returning this episode. It was a bit weird, to be honest. And then the bit, there was definitely a direct parody to Marvel when they said Vindicators 2 was like Doomatron, and Doomatron sounds like Ultron, and Avengers 2 was Ultron, and Vindicators 2 was apparently Doomatron. And what I was saying about like turning, like starting a bit, see the way this episode started, them in the garage. Oh, I thought that was going to be like maybe halfway through the episode, like maybe they'd get introduced to the Vindicators, and then it's like, okay, like maybe they like out in space, and then they'd help the Vindicators, like maybe there'd be a bad guy and Rick would kill the bad guy, and then it's like, you can join us, and then that would be later in the episode when they call to adventure, but that was at the very beginning, and they'd already did Vindicators 1, and the fact that it's just like it's kind of contradicting itself in a way, because in the season 2 thing, he's like, Morty says to the guy, I think we should start our stories where they begin and not where they get interesting. I mean, that is kind of contradicting itself. I think that's the right phrasing. I hope so, because now I look like a bit of an idiot. And then also, they are... I don't know what happened. What was I going to say? What was I talking about? Yeah. And then, I'm trying to think if there's anything else to say about this episode. I think that, yeah, this season should just be called Rick and Other People, because most of the episode's mostly about Rick. Like, and then Morty's part of the subplot. I mean, because there's hardly actually been any episodes this season where Rick and Morty are together, and it's not like subplots of each other. Literally only episode 4. Well, I guess he was kind of in episode 2, but he also had his own subplot at one point with like Rick building the robots and stuff. Is subplot the right thing? I don't know to say. And then and then like the Pickle Rip episode, that was just a subplot, the therapy. And yeah, the therapy subplot was like, that was more about Beth than Morty. And I was thinking, it's a good job Justin Roiland plays both Rick and Morty, or else the voice actor that did Morty would not be very happy, and he probably wouldn't be getting paid as much this season. And then, and then also, so I'll just talk about the new episode, I think that's all. And then the new episode, the Whirly Dirly Conspiracy. That was a Rick and Jerry adventure, and it starts off with Jerry and his depressing life. And I'll just try and like recreate this episode. It'll be very good, don't worry. Right, here we go. Wait until it gets to 40 minutes for some reason. And Jerry, come on, we're gonna go on an adventure, Jerry. Come on, Jerry, we're gonna go on an adventure. Rick and Jerry adventure. Rick and Jerry episode. This episode's really cringy. Episode. I'm too busy talking about Rick and Morty, still saying episode. I mean video. And yeah, so yeah, so that's the way it started. And then the subplot was a bit weird. I'll talk about the subplot first. The subplot was basically, I'll explain it. So Summer goes up to Beth, crying, and asks if she's hot. And Beth is like saying, "Oh, that doesn't matter." And then it turns out that Summer, and then it's like Summer. See, Ethan's been in a couple episodes. Summer's boyfriend. And then it turns out later, like you can kind of hear her saying, so Ethan dumped Summer, and they were supposed to go camping, but then Ethan took this girl called Trisha who has big boobs, and then Summer uses this machine to try and make her boobs bigger, but she gets like kind of all messed up, and she fits in the whole garage. And then Beth is like, her ego is so huge in this episode, because it's like, and then there's a bit where like she's making a dog out of horse parts, mostly hooves, and then Morty's just like, "Is that a hoof collage?" And then Beth's like, "Yes," and it is legal, just if you're wondering that. And then Morty has a mug, and he's just like, "Coolsies," and then he takes it like a drink, and then it's like, so they just so when Summer turns all big and messed up, they press normal, and she becomes not like all her body parts are like even, but she's huge. And then they press reverse, and her thing turns inside out, which is really weird. And then so she turns inside out, and then there was also and then at the end, I only realised this when watching a YouTube video, but at the end, in the end credit scene, where you see the guy like crawling and he's all messed up and stuff, that's actually Ethan. Morty did that to Ethan as payback for like dumping Summer and stuff. And then like Beth turns herself inside out to like convince Summer to come back, and then I think everybody's normal. And then, so let's talk about the normal episode now. What happens is, so I just gave you a basic replay of the beginning, because you can tell I was being Rick, and my boy Jerry was being Jerry, but to be honest, nobody likes you, Jerry. And so basically, they took him away, and Jerry thought it was an execution, but Morty was like, wanted Rick to take Jerry on an adventure so he wouldn't kill himself. But I think he says later in the episode it was to get a rest from Rick. He actually told him to go and do that. And they will go to this thing, this like kind of theme park where you can't die. There's like an immortality field around it, and it explains so many things, because you could see because you could see from the trailer, and everybody was like, why has Rick got a hole in his chest? Why was the person aiming a gun at him on the ride? Why did they turn into a robot? And it turns out it was all for little reasons. So for the immortality field, first so Rick's friend comes up and stabs him in the chest with his spear. Rick dies, but then comes back to life. And then he has that hole in his chest, which is like not hole, but like mark. And then that's how that happens. And then it turns out that Rick had gave people weapons inside of that. And then Rick kind of goes to try to kill Jerry, but like he wasn't killer. He'd just lead him, kill him. Jerry would just lead the Rick to his death. And then the other people would kill him, which is why the person was aiming the gun, because it the roller coaster dipped a little. It said the immortality field, but then Jerry told Rick, it was like, oh no, and then Jerry got shot, but he was still sitting inside the immortality field, and then Rick realised. And they were kind of like friends in one bit of the thing, enemies, friends, enemies, friends, like it kept switching. And then we found, so that's how they were killing, and then that's how they were like pointing a gun at Rick, and then so he kills them too, And at one point he's fighting the guy in the roller coaster, and he puts his head up against something, and the head comes clean off, and it regenerates because they're in the immortality field. And then the same guy does it. They think they do it to each other like twice or something. And then, but you could see when Rick's head grows back, it looks really similar to the Pickle Rick thing, which is maybe a callback, or like maybe they just use the same type of animation. And then they're outside, and it's really weird because you hear like Rick, what he actually thinks about Jerry, about how stuff like he acts like prey, but he's a predator, and he always uses pity to lure in his victims and stuff like that, and just like stuff Rick has never said before to Jerry. And then Jerry gets eaten, but like Rick saves him because he needs him. And then the bit where they're riding the thing, it's funny. I won't tell you about it because it'll ruin the joke, but it's funny. And then you realise that it's just like when they get to the spaceship thing, it's like this guy has cybernetic things, and it's just like and it's just like, but it's like it's so random. It's like, how did that happen? You thought that it was going to be like an evil robot Rick trying to kill them or something. No, just all of a sudden. And then it gets injected with this weird thing, and it was like, it makes him dumb. And if you watch Rick and Morty, you must have if you've seen that, your mind must have went to Doofus Rick. Like it seems really similar. And then it's just, it's basically Jerry Rick. And then see the bit where they went through like the solar thing. We don't talk about that here. That bit was just too weird. We won't talk about that. So yeah, we won't talk about that. And then it was like the very end of this bit was quite funny because it was like, do you want to come in? Rick said to Jerry, do you want to come in? And Jerry's like, no, because then my family feels sorry for me, which is no longer my go-to situation. And then Rick's like, oh, okay, and he goes in, and he's walking out back, and then Jerry goes, actually, I left my wallet and my bus pass, so... And then, literally, he's like, right, bye, Jerry, good luck. And then he slams the door, and then, lasers come, and a gun comes, and then Jerry's just like, oh, and he has to walk away. And this episode, it was a good written one. It's not my favourite episode. Like I said, Pickle Rip's my favourite. But it was really good. That it had good story and stuff. And some quite funny jokes. That's what I was going to say. I just remembered I was going to say something. See the immortality field? When they crash the ride, they crash a ride at one point, and they get loads in immortality field. And earlier in the episode, this boy and this girl, they're not humans, they're aliens, but they're still like little kids. And the boy's shooting the girl with a gun in the head. The boy's chasing the girl and trying to shoot her with a gun in the head. But obviously she's coming back to life. And then see when the immortality field goes down. I don't know if everybody can notice it, but it is quite obvious. But it's just like, oh my god, no way. Because it's like, so the immortality field goes down, and then it quickly goes back to the kids for a couple seconds. And it's like the boy shoots the girl, and then the girl just lies there, and then the boy's just like, I don't know if her name's Cynthia, I'll just say it because that's what I remember. And he's like, Cynthia? And it just goes back to Rick and Jerry, and it's just like, because it's like the wee girl's dead. And it's a dark moment. And that's it. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And also, I don't know if I'll do because see how you can see from the trailer, maybe some season finale might be really extreme. So see if the season finale is extreme, I'll do a video making episodes 6 to... I think I'll do another video on Rick and Morty, maybe episode 6 to 9 or 6 to 10. Depends how big episode 10 is, because if it's a big episode with loads of plot points, and if if Phoenix person's in the episode 10, it'll get its own video, and if something big happens, it'll get its own video. But if it's not, it'll just be in with episode 6 to 9. It'll just be episode 6 to 10. So it'll be like 5 episodes as well. So also, if you like, I've already said that. As always, stay awesome, guys. Disco Roboto out. Peace.